Ciao, my darlings. How are you today? I hope you're having beautiful days across time and space. I'm very grateful for you. Today, we are going to continue with my human story. As the title states, this is about waking up post-woke. And today we're going to be talking about adolescence. And if this is the first time that we've met, hello, my name is Sarah. I am a healer, a spiritual counselor. I'm a mystic. My soul came from a different time and space that has come down to the planet right now, amongst many others, to play human, to be helpful during the awakening, and to really just help navigate. The intention behind me putting out my human story is to help with the children right now. Children, I am not meant to have my own children in this human life. This is my last human life. I'm very conscious and aware of that. And so my intention is to offer a little bit of understanding as to how easily we can only speak from I statements. So if I had been given the opportunity during any point of my childhood, adolescent, and even young adulthood, that someone that I had deemed to be an authority figure or a parental figure that had said, Sarah, there might be something wrong with you. You might be in the wrong body. And would you like to take some hormone blockers or to transition your body to be a boy? If I'd been given that opportunity at any of the junctures that I'm discussing with you during this series, I would have done it in a heartbeat, without question. Without question, I would have had a penis right now. And I'm beyond grateful that no matter where, as mystics, we go down the dark, scary hallway. We do it. We're like, I kind of want to fuck around and find out down there. And so I'm so grateful that God really just stopped me before I did the things that would have been, that there were no coming back from. There's no coming back from. So I'm very grateful to be in my very divine, feminine, female, XX chromosome body and to be a woman. It is an incredible blessing. Yes, I think that's how we are going to start off. Please, as always, go grab some coffee and or tea or some water. I have espresso. I have some snacks. I'm having some almond flour crackers, Simply Mills, they're the rosemary and sea salt, and I have some hummus as well I'm enjoying because I have been very nervous before recording these and during them, and today has been a very human day for me. The transiting sun is in my 12th house in my chart. So if anybody knows what that's like, it's a little sleepy tired and you feel all the feelings. And so I'm in it, as are we all, but we can only speak from I statements. We really can. So I would never tell anyone out there like, do this, do this. I can only say, hey, I've been there, and radical self-awareness and radical self-acceptance and self-love is the only way. Because if you love yourself, when you love yourself, when you love your dirty bits, when you love all of the little shitty things you've done, the great things you've done, every single view across time and space, it doesn't matter what your body looks like. You aren't seeking external validation. You aren't seeking anyone to tell you to validate how you feel inside. You just feel it and you're like, I'm good. So I would, if you have not watched the introductory video to this series as well as the childhood video for this series, those are options for you. In the introductory video, I thought I was going to break all of these up categorically, but it seems to flow a little bit better when I did it by age. So just to highlight, I know that in that video I was going to break it up categorically, but let's get into it. So adolescence. Even preteen and things like that, I think I started listening to MK Ultra music. I'll highlight Britney Spears especially, when her Hit Me Baby One More Time came out. And there was I don't remember how old I was when this happened, but my family, I grew up in a big family, and we would get together at the big, Italian, Irish grandparents' house, usually at least once or twice a week. And so there was a time and I'm giving you this view through the lens of 36-year-old Sarah. So I'm looking back at the experience with the knowledge that I have now. So went to grandma's house, and I'm loving up on Britney Spears, and so I dressed like a schoolgirl. But I had, the button up, tied up to here, wearing the little skirt, and, I'm a child. I'm an absolute child. And so we went to the party, grandma and grandpa's house. Nothing happened then. I just remember when I got home, mom got a phone call. And it was the uncles. If you watch my childhood story, there's layers to this, or layers to that. And all I heard my mother saying, the only phrase that I remember her saying is like, "She's fine. What she's wearing is fine. Like, thank you for your concern, but like, we've got this. It's fine." The concern was how inappropriate I was dressing. So the topic of discussion was how I was dressing. And I didn't know that I was causing such problems. I had no idea. I had no idea that I was causing such problems. But when you're listening to these, brainwashed musicians, and you are sexualized as a child, like I'm singing "Hit Me Baby One More Time" as a child. Like that. There was this meme that I saw once. It was just talking about a ludicrous song, like in middle school dances. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. So in middle school dances, we're literally in 6th, 7th grade, grinding up on each other. I wanna lick you from your head to your toes, and I wanna move from the bed down to the I'm 12 dancing, really grinding up on some people. So whoa. I had forgotten about, so in the middle school that I went to, I am the reason that tube tops are not allowed, or no, not tube tops, halter tops are not allowed at middle school dances. As I wore a halter top, also from 6th grade, I was flat as a board. 7th grade, D's. I'm not kidding. So I was that South Park episode. And so after a middle school dance, I was pulled into the principal's office and was like, "That was inappropriate. No one can ever wear those again. No one can ever wear those again." So sorry everyone, but that was me. So lots of sexualization, and I understand the seed of that. I understand that because of what happened when I was a little girl, and because of the way that my father viewed me as a baby, all these different things, and please go watch the childhood video if you have not. It was the droplet of sexualization was already put on me. That was the role that I played. That was the energy, the vibrations that my body gave off. So that was real. I got my period for the first time when I was 12 years old, and I've referenced this before, and I was immediately put on birth control pills. My periods are extremely painful, excruciatingly painful, and I know they all are for everyone, so I'm not saying mine is worse, but for me personally, I feel as though my pain threshold is pretty high, and they can sometimes just take me down. So I was put on birth control pills when I was 12 years old, which did not stop the pain in any capacity. So I don't fully, I mean, I get now why, but back then it did not make sense. So they had, to regulate it. And so it's like, so I know when it's coming, which I could have done naturally. And so I was also told to take a leave, or naproxen sodium, I don't know how to pronounce it. And so I was taking so much of that I had burned holes in my stomach, little baby ulcers, and I was just so excited. I needed special medical attention. It was really nice. I got special time with Mom. Couldn't care less what was wrong with me. Could not care less. I got to get out of school. I got special attention. There it is. There it is. So all of that happened in middle school. During that time, I was also put into, I was seeing a therapist for some time. And the amount of time, I'm going to be doing an entire video on the downfall of therapy and the rise of wisdom and spiritual guidance, if you will. It was 11/11 when I said that. So that is going to be a very exciting topic because the amount of times that I, since childhood, have made therapists cry and really not know what to do with me, but would continue to see them and pay them almost as if like they were challenged. And they were not the right therapists. They were in no way qualified to talk to me or to handle what it is that I was going through. I was a very bright, very spiritual, very enlightened child. And I was put in situations where like, they were just like, oh, you think you know what you need? No, actually, I need validation for myself and my title as a therapist to be able to figure this out, which does not make sense to me. I've been in leadership. I've been training teams for over 10 years. I've been leading people in corporate for a very long time. And I highly implore you, if like just timing out from my human story, just giving you this little, like, if someone asks you a question and you don't know the answers to that question, your response, I'm not going to should you, but what I do, pardon me, is to say, I don't know the answers to that question, but I'm going to go find out. So please give me a few moments. Like, there is infinite information on this planet, infinite information on the little telephone that I'm staring into right now. So if you do not know the answer to something, it is not because you're dumb. It is not because, it's literally just because that information has not been put in front of your face. So don't try to lie to yourself, to the person that's standing in front of you. Utilize authentic integrity or have a level of honesty that you feel as though you can be with yourself and be that way with the vibrations of the people around you. And just say, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question. Not even I'm sorry, but like, thank you for your patience. I don't have the answer to that question, but I'm gonna go find out for you. Or thank you for that question. I actually don't have access to that information, but let me go find it immediately. So that's just an offering for you there. I don't even know where that, from therapy and things like that. So it's so okie dokie for someone to say, hey, I might not be the person for you. You know, the healer that I go to has referenced that before. She's like, if I'm working with someone and they are not growing and developing every single time I see them, then I am not the person for them. And I really respect that. I really respect that. That's how you find the person that's right for you. That's how you find the job that's right for you. Oh my God, like so many different, also another, I'm going so far outside of this video for this moment, but for some reason, this is just resonating with me right now to say that if you're going for a job or going into a job interview or you're applying for a job, what I always do is a trial shift every single job that I've ever had. And I would recommend for this, if you are a leader, if you are a trainer, whatever it may be, I'll just use restaurants, for example. You know, you're skilled in restaurants, and so you want to work in this restaurant, you really like it. Instead of quitting and starting that job, do a trial shift. 2, maybe 3 hours in the middle of rush. And so you can see how everyone vibes. You can see if you can flow within that. You'll have an accountability buddy with you. And so you won't have to worry about the POS system and things like that. You'll be able to ask those questions, but you'll just see if you flow with the vibe. Same way for healers, same way for therapists, same way for everything, doctors, whomever it is that you are giving your power to say, or not giving your power to, but if you were saying, I'm going to be showing you part of myself that I'm giving you access to, my vulnerability, can you handle that? So always question, always do that. Got a little bit off topic there. Pardon me. So let's get back to it. So I'm just checking my notes here. So I'm on birth control pills. I'm already confused. I'm listening to very intense MK Ultra music. So I'm already sexualizing myself. I've had all of those different seeds kind of come to be and things like that. Let's get to high school. Okie dokie. So 15 years old, and I'm 15. I'm a sophomore in high school. It's like, going into sophomore year in high school. And freshman year, I met my first ex-fiance. We started dating. He was 19 years old. It was illegal. I was 15. He was 19. It was very illegal, and inappropriate. Definitely, in hindsight, inappropriate. But because, of older sister going to college, doing her thing, very, very bright, very, very successful, like very, very, like all the beautiful things. My younger sister had a lot of different things going up, medical stuff growing up. And so Sarah playing until in the middle child, like, Sarah, you're very pretty. You will find a man. He will love you. He will take care of you. He will marry you. He will give you paper and plastic, a house. He'll give you kids, and you'll be fine. Everything will be fine. So those were the expectations of me. So I literally just found someone who came from a wealthy family, went to my high school, checked all of the boxes. And so I was like, okay, this is the person that I'm supposed to be with. Cool. Awesome. And so that's that. And so I'm 15 years old. My younger sister was in a mental institution at the time. My parents had separated. Like I had said in my childhood video, my father had cheated on my mother the week before I was born. He was kind of freaking out about having a second child. And so my mother did not get to, quote unquote, like punish him. Like he never had to like deal with that ever, because there was like financial fear. She was a stay-at-home mom, kids, like there was no place for that. And not like this was the 90s or early 90s, so divorce was in no way taboo, and it was very accepted. It just wasn't like, they were busy. They were busy. They didn't have time, and they hated each other. They did not want to be together at all. A lot of drinking in the house, lots and lots of drinking. And they were in financial fear, to be honest with you. I've unpacked a lot of this, most of this with both of my birth parents. And honestly, like my father was running a small business, the family business with his brother. He had to take so much time off at all times to be, with my younger sister in hospitals. And he wanted to keep a roof over everyone's head. Like he was doing the best he could with the tools that he had. Same with my mother. In middle school, I never understood why I would always come home and my mom would have all of these incredible baked goods all over the place. It's because she was smoking the ganja, and it was her, like, those are munchy foods. We always had the best munchy food around. It was good stuff. So high school, my sister was in a mental institution. My parents had separated, and my grandfather, my mother's father, had a stroke while he was driving and crashed his car. And he was in the hospital for about a week, I want to say, and then they eventually had to take him off life support. So this all happened within like a month span of time. And so that was like somewhat intense. And so it got to be a little bit of, I had been forced to be an adult at a very young age. And in this situation, my my father had moved out. My mother was devastated. She's being guided and led by friends of hers that really kind of were doing, what did my father say? That my mother's best friend was responsible for 3 divorces and I'm one of them. I feel like she was an inadvertent light worker and just doesn't recognize that, but doing her work. So that's amazing. Where was I? High school, 15. So during that time when my sister was in the hospital, my father had moved out, I would be in school. I'd be at high school, and one of the secretaries would come in to my classroom and just say, "Sarah, you have to go home." I'd be like, "Okay." Awesome, but why? Your mom called you out. Apparently you're sick. I was like, "Okay, cool." And I would, go home and mom would be drunk and crying and, just really sad. It was devastating what was going on. All of a sudden she was alone. And my oldest sister's off in college, younger sister's, and, she's all alone. And so I was there to just make her feel better. I don't really remember what I would do when I would be at home, but I was just there to make her feel better. So that was, I'm glad that I was there for that. There were, back in middle school, before I saw a therapist, I was a part of a friend group that was pretty, big teachers for me, definitely so. They had already had a tight-knit little group that I just kind of came into. There was 4 of them, and then I was the 5th friend, and we were this, 5 of us. And so I was just welcomed into this group, and I guess I was the butt of the joke when I wasn't around, and I didn't really know that. There was a day that they had left a mental health book open in my locker about depression and about the way I was dressing, and just I started to wear really, really revealing shirts, and then a huge sweatshirt over it, and I would zip it up, and then I would wear that, all this crazy makeup, and show up at school, and then I'd undo it, and I had these big old titties and stuff. So I was getting attention, which at the time was that's all that mattered. You're getting attention. I don't care how you're getting it, you're getting it. Yeah, the first time that I was ever felt up was on the school bus. It was a boy I was really not interested in, but I didn't know that I had body autonomy, and I was just sitting on his lap, and he just put his hand up my, we're talking, and I'm sitting there completely in fawn freeze. I was frozen, and I can feel it right now, and he just reached up and grabbed my boob and stuff, and it was just really uncomfortable, but I didn't know that I could say no. I had no idea that I could say no. Had no idea that I could say no. And so we'll fast forward to, I'm in senior year, 17, 18 years old. I'm still technically dating my first ex-fiance, but I really wasn't in love with him, and I just wanted to get attention. So I would go to semi-formals with other men or other boys, and I was flirtatious. I think my superlative in middle school was fabulous flirt, and I didn't care. I was just getting attention, so it didn't really matter. Where was I? High school. I was taking a lot of drugs. I was taking pills. They were called Coricidin and Cough and Cold, and if you took 8 of them, you tripped balls. Again, in the town I grew up in, you can't buy those pills. At the CVS, you can't. No, they figured out that we were doing that. So I would do that with a few friends, and we just wanted to see the stars. The first time I ever astral traveled was taking those pills. It was wild. So I was very unhinged. This is a lot. I'm sorry. I haven't talked about this in a while, and I know that it's for the kids, and I just want to show that, again, I had no idea. I thought this was a normal childhood. I thought that this was normal. Yeah. So 17, 18, senior year, I had emancipated myself, so I was able to call myself out of school. I could come and go as I pleased. I kind of just like bartered with them to graduate. Like I literally like was just like, just let me leave. My guidance counselor was just like, just graduate. Nobody talked about college. Even I was unpacking some stuff with my father this year, not even a few months ago. And out of his mouth was just like, you were not built for college, Sarah. You weren't right for that. I was like, thanks, cool. So I had emancipated myself. My father moved out. My younger sister was living with my father, I believe, at the time, and my older sister was still in college. And during that time period, my mother got a DWI and went to rehab in Florida for a month. So I was living by myself, 17, 18 years old. I was living alone in my childhood home that was 4-bedroom, 4-bath on an acre of land, and I was living by myself. And I was just like, this is normal. This is fine. I would show up to school in slippers, and my car was a 1987 Chrysler LeBaron. It was white with a black soft top. You're welcome for that image. You're welcome. You're welcome. I had gone through confirmation. I think I might have touched upon this in the introductory video, so fast forward if I did, but like going through confirmation, my high school class, we were whippersnappers, and my confirmation teacher would snap at us because we would question, like, why does this say this, but this says this, and this is this, and Jesus just says love everybody. He like washes the feet of prostitutes. Why are you telling me that I can't be nice to that person because of the color of the skin? And I'll never forget, he just goes, just do what it says, just do what I tell you. And he like snapped, and we were like, okay, I guess this is religion. This is how we do it. You just don't ask questions. You just do it. So I got confirmed. My confirmation name is Andrea, after my aunt Andrea, who passed away when I think I was a year old. So bless you, Andrea. And so I was very, very alone and divided from my family. Very, very alone and divided from my family. And so during this time, my parents were getting divorced. And this was 2005, I want to say, and they had to sell the house that I was living in. So if anybody knows what that time period was like, yeah. So my father had asked me out for lunch one day. And so he had said, I'm sorry, I just got, and I had forgotten about something that I have to put into the next video. A really interesting story that I'll never forget. So I just wanted to not forget that. So my father had taken me out for lunch one day, and he sat me down. And my mother was still in rehab at the time. I'm living in the house, and it's January, February of 2005. So it's the year that I'm going to be graduating. And actually, no, it was probably later. It was spring 2005, I want to say, when this happened. And he sat me down and he said, Sarah, this divorce is getting expensive. And so I'm going to leave this one up to you. I can either afford to pay for you to have child support to live at home with mom, or I can afford to give health insurance to your 2 other sisters. And, as I've told you, my younger sister, needed medical attention on a regular basis. She wouldn't be alive without it. So I'm very, very grateful for that. And so I said, oh my gosh, absolutely. My sisters, oh my gosh, absolutely. And so so that's what happened. And so I said, I'll move out. And so the man that I was dating at the time, didn't move with me, but decided to be helpful and take over some of that. So I felt very in need to have that person in my life. I didn't feel, I couldn't, like, there was no possible way I could afford to live alone. I was 18 years old. Like, no way. If I was like, I'll be helpful, I'll help you get the apartment, I'll help you with all these things. And, you know, my ex just decided to like live and stay as much as he could there and help financially. And so I was just like on my own. And so, that was so this is really tough to be talking about right now. So I just wanted everybody to be happy. I just wanted everything to be fine. And I just didn't really know my role. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. And I was never really guided in any way to have a purpose of my own. My parents were just like, she's pretty, she'll have a husband, she'll make babies. My sisters were jealous of my looks, where I was jealous of the attention that they received. Like, I was never even told that I was allowed to be smart or have any growth opportunities. It was just finish, just deal. Like, all of the authority figures around me were just like, just function so you can move along. Just function so you can move along. So at any point in time, my intention, I'm going back to my intention, at any point in time, if any adult during this juncture, not even adult, any person, any nefarious being, anybody had said, hey, you know, maybe you're actually a boy. You know, your father would have loved a boy, and he would give you a lot more attention if you were a boy, so maybe you should be a boy. In a minute, without batting an eye. I had no foundation. So I'm just checking my notes. I think that's all for this video. That's my teenage years. That's my adolescence. That's how I grew up. Seemed normal to me, the whole thing. I still, like, even as I record this, I'm like thinking in the back of my head, I was like, this is normal, Sarah. These are normal things that have happened to you. So I don't think that anyone's gonna, like, my brain will try to convince me, like, nobody will benefit from this story. But yeah, I really, if that's one soul on this planet that's gone through that, then I'm sure that there's a lot more. And, you know, trauma is trauma, big T, little t, whatever you want to call it. Like, it is what it is. And we're so easily manipulatable as children because we're meant to be children. We're meant to have imaginations and to let them run wild at all times. And then when you get into your 20s, you start to kind of form those I am statements. Let them be. The parable that came to my mind, or the analogy that came to my mind, is like, how many of you, when you were kiddos, or I'll just paint a picture. So you're a child, you're 4 years old, and you just say out loud, I want to be a fireman. I want you to just go on this dramatization with me. What if in that moment your parents were like, done, and there was a contract that you could sign that was binding for the rest of your life that said, I'm a fireman, and that every single other activity was taken away from you? You could only look at fire trucks, you could only have fire engines in your room. That was the only thing. And the contract that you signed at 3-4 years old was binding for the rest of your human existence. And you had to run into every single building, every single burning building, with the absolute possibility of death. Like, it was just binding completely. Could you imagine, taking a hormone blocker when you're a child, just needing attention and not really understanding the repercussions of your actions? And then you're in your 20s and 30s and you are literally physically stuck in the body that you have deformed because you were given the opportunity to make completely life-changing decisions as a child. This is about mental health, nothing more. These children are not confused. They have precious, very intense imaginations that are meant to be explored. You're meant to let your imagination run wild at those ages, and you're meant to have safe buckets to be able to just say and see and experience. Yeah, the sexualization of children right now is beyond demonic. Beyond. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for being here with me. Again, my name is Sarah. If this was our first time together, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. I share a lot. Usually it's about the current time and space and awakening and processing and unpacking all of your things, but my intention is to be extremely vulnerable and to show that regardless of how you identify, what's happening right now is beyond biblical. And that's okay if that is not your language. That's okay. That's my opinion, and these are my stories, and these are the things that have happened to me, the things that I contracted to happen to me, and I'm honored to be here to share the tale with you. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. See you soon.